Will Europe resist? Well, Europe has resisted many plagues and wars and disasters in her long and turbulent and curved history. So no doubt this time Europe will survive too. The question is in what shape? Personally, I think the coronavirus will not have a significant effect on the European soul, so to speak. It might affect politics. It will certainly affect economy, but I don't think it will change the current moral climate in Europe. I see two potential areas where changes could be expected. Could does not, of course, mean will. The first change is political. It has become clear that at the time of crisis, the European Union cannot do much. The European Union is too big, too slow, too inefficient, too preoccupied with itself to act in a decisive way. And there is not much we can do about it. It's just a part of what the EU is. Predictably, it was the nation states that were fighting the epidemic, and the success or failure, for that matter, of this fight will depend on what they have been doing, on the ingenuity, determination, and commitment. Also, predictably, the European Union has been using the crisis to enlarge, or rather to usurp, more competences for itself. What might happen after the epidemic is a conflict between the nation states and the European Union, the conflict which will ultimately result in the European Union's coming to senses, or at least reducing its stillborn ambitions. This would indeed be a welcome development, except that the EU elites have already refused to draw the logical conclusion and declared the continuation of business as usual. When the economic depression appears, this overreaching of the European Union might cause additional instability, and the EU, because of its insatiable political appetite, will be to blame. The second area where one might expect changes is a moral one. After all, the epidemic has been the time to rethink the question of life and death. That is the question that our modern civilization has brushed aside and turned its back upon classical moral teaching. The epidemic shattered the grounds of our complacency. This complacency which led us to forget about the fragility of human existence. All of a sudden, people around us started falling ill for the reasons we were unprepared to accept, and a lot of them died and are dying. And the technology which we have been so proud of turned out to be helpless. So will Europe draw a lesson and rethink its frivolous, to say the least, its frivolous attitude towards life and death? Well, one is never sure how societies behave after the time of disaster, such as a war or a plague. After World War I, the mood in Europe was that, on the one hand, fun and entertainment, and on the other, the premonition of imminent disaster. After World War II, the general mood was that of pessimism and gloom, then followed by an outburst of collective frenzy called sexual revolution. All this shows that the Europeans, if they draw conclusions from the crises, those conclusions are often mistaken and lead to new problems and new crises. Whether this time it will be different, well, I wonder.